YouTube partnership team. This is our second live stream, Ask YouTube. We had our first live stream last month, and you guys asked us to answer more questions. So this live stream is you and the questions you've asked. I'm lucky to be joined by 3 smart people I work with, so I could never answer all your questions by myself. So Shanaz, why don't you give a quick intro?
Sure. My name is Shanaz, and I'm a product manager at YouTube, working on the partnership program and the uploads. And thanks so much for asking us these questions so you get us a chance to be on YouTube. We are always behind the scenes looking at the video, but being on YouTube, this is a chance we get to do it.
I'm Jim. I'm Director of Partner Operations. So my team actually endeavors to answer all of your emails and questions and works on all of the education programs that we're trying to put together, including things like this, to try and help you do better on YouTube.
And I'm Chris. I'm a Product Marketing Manager at YouTube. I focus on product launches and various other partner initiatives to help make our partners successful. And welcome. We're really excited about this.
So our first question is, I'm going to give this to you, Shanaz. What does it take to be a YouTube partner?
So the key thing about remembering or being a YouTube partner is there are 3 guidelines, and they're very important guidelines. First is you must own or have express permission to use and earn money from everything that you upload to YouTube. So anything that's in your video, images, audio, music, anything, you should have all rights or have express permission to use that content in your video. The second is you should regularly upload videos, and your videos can be popular online and appeal to an audience, or offline, say like DVDs. And the important thing is that it should appeal to the audience that is on YouTube. And the third thing is you must be 18 years or have legal parent or guardian consent. So these are guidelines. There are no set criteria about becoming a partner, and we always look at a case-by-case basis when you apply for partnership.
Great. Oh, and I forgot to ask, you can also keep asking questions right now at hashtag AskYT. Right, Julie? Right. So the next question is, Chris, so what's planned for YouTube partners in 2011?
And I think part of this question too kind of referred to live streaming. And obviously we're really excited about live streaming at YouTube. We just see this as a great opportunity for our partners to continue to engage in more powerful ways with their audiences. And as you guys might remember, back in September, we held a very limited alpha of a self-service live streaming product that we had that's integrated into the brand channel environment. And so far, the results have been great. We're continuing to test and iterate on that product with the eventual goal of rolling it out to our partners. So that will be coming.
Yeah, and I think that, from the product perspective, from the partnership perspective, we want to start doing more events like this. We had a giveaway where we gave our top 500 channels a $1,000 fund to purchase camera equipment at B&H Photo. So we want to continue to keep investing in you and in making partners successful. So I think that's something else would say was coming up for 2011.
Absolutely.
So Shanaz, are partners considered when we make a change to YouTube?
I think all our users are considered when we make changes to YouTube. Partners are a part of it, right? So our uploaders, our viewers, we look across all our users. And so definitely, yes, partners are considered because you're part of the user community when you make changes to YouTube.
So Jim, I mean, a lot of people were not happy with the YouTube homepage change. What would you say to them?
So the first thing I would say is that we do a lot of testing for everything we do. So none of this just happens overnight. And there was a great deal of testing around the homepage. And all of the indications were that users actually stayed on YouTube longer, watched more videos. So while no change is universally accepted, all indications to us were that the community liked the new homepage, spent more time on YouTube. And our view is that when you optimize for that experience, that the more time people spend on YouTube, they're going to watch more videos. That ultimately benefits the entire YouTube community. If they're watching more videos, there's a high likelihood that more users will watch more of your videos. So while we consider partners, we actually optimize for the user experience and really pay attention to how much time people are spending on the platform.
Yep. And one thing I like to tell people when partners come to me, bring back the stars or something that people really liked in the past is, one thing I can guarantee you is YouTube is going to continue to change. But we always base that change on data. And just like Jim said, the reason why we're making these changes is because we want people to engage more with your content, watch more of your videos, and just have a better overall viewing experience on YouTube. So overall, you know, if you don't like something, don't worry about it. It'll probably change itself.
Yeah, I also want to add, also want to add over here, we do like to Jim and Marcus, we do launch and iterate. So for the homepage specifically, we launched in December for a select amount of users who stuck to the homepage, right? And then we did launch a survey, and over 100,000 responded saying they like the new homepage. So it's not just, you know, making decisions. We, like Margaret said and Jim said, we collect that data from our users and then we implement the changes. Yeah, but and YouTube services millions and millions of users. So there is going to be some change that not everybody is going to like. And you kind of have to kind of go with that.
And to Jim's point on just focusing on users, ultimately we're focusing on your audience, and we want to help you build your audience. So I think that's another key kind of component to consider.
Yep. So Shanaz, tell us about the video review process. How does that work, and what can you do to make sure your video is reviewed in the fastest timeline?
So as I referred earlier, the key important thing when you monetize your video is you should own and or have express permission to use all the content in your video. So when you submit your video for monetization, you should tell us what's in your video, whether there's music or there's an image or, you know, and you have that permission from everybody in that video or even the music that you created. Did you create it? Where did you create it? How did you create it? If you licensed it, where did you license it from? Tell us that information. So that helps the review process. And yes, you know, it's a work in progress. We constantly work on making the process easier and faster.
Yep. Jim, is your team doing anything to speed things up? I mean, it seems like it's been a pretty consistent source of frustration for a lot of our good partners.
And the reality is that other than instantaneous, I don't think everybody's going to be perfectly happy with it. So what I can tell you is we pay a lot of attention to how long it takes us to review videos. And we have lots of, one of the things you learn about Google and YouTube is we have lots of metrics around everything. We love data. So we pay a lot of attention to how long videos sit in the queue, what's the longest video that sat there. And when we get reports that something's taken too long to get reviewed, we do go and look at what were the circumstances around that to see whether there were things that we could have or should have done differently. Over the last year, we've grown the team that's responsible for doing a lot of those reviews. We've developed a lot of new tools and made improvements to the tools that we have. So if you go look at the chart, you can see that the turnaround time on reviewing videos has improved consistently over the last year, and I think over the next year it'll continue to get better and better. The best thing you can do to help us, though, is to make sure that the content is clearly original, that you clearly have all of the rights to monetize the content that's in the video, and that's going to ensure if the video has to be reviewed, that it's going to be reviewed quickly and approved quickly.
Yep. So a lot of people think that top partners get special treatment from YouTube, and other partners are victim to YouTube policies. I mean, what do you say when people think that?
So before we start talking about policies and the like, I want to make sure that there's a good solid frame of reference. There's 35 hours of new content uploaded to YouTube every minute. So over the course of this hour, think about how much content that is. And not all of it is partner content, granted, but there's a great deal of it is. And so that's the framework. So there's a lot of content coming at us. And there's a lot of content that we need to make sure complies with YouTube's policies and community guidelines and legal considerations. And so that's the framework that we're operating in. So are there two sets of rules? Do we favor one set of partners or certain partners over others? And the answer is absolutely not. There's one set of policies. There's one set of community guidelines. There's one set of laws. And our goal is to enforce all of those evenly and fairly across the entire partner community. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we haven't made mistakes. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we've consistently enforced all of our policies and done a great job of policing things that have been going on that some of the partner community has been a little concerned about. I can tell you that it is our goal to enforce, to do a better job of policing and enforcing the policies. we honestly believe the better job we do, the better user experience. And then I'll go back to my other point. The better user experience, the more time people are going to spend on YouTube because they're viewing interesting content, they're finding the content they want to view. The more time they spend on YouTube, the likelihood that they'll watch more of your content goes up.
Yep. And you know, one thing I'll add to that is YouTube doesn't flag videos. The community flag videos. And once a video is flagged, it goes into our review queue to be looked to see if you're violating any YouTube policies. And at that point, a person makes a decision, right? And there's not two sets of queues or two sets of policies. It's one policy. So the community flags, and then our policy people look at it and make sure that it was in accordance to our guidelines or not. So.
And we're also developing tools that allow you to challenge policy decisions and appeals, to appeal a policy decision, and have it looked at a second time.
Yep.
You know, anytime you put people in the equation, the likelihood that mistakes will get made is slightly higher than if you have a computer in the equation. So, so we have worked to try and make that a little more transparent process and a process that works better for partners if they happen to think we made a mistake.
So here's, now we're into partner-specific questions. For new YouTube partners, what are the best optimization strategies to grow your channel? So I mean, I can speak to that. I talk to partners a lot about this. And I would say the first thing you need to make sure is that you're making great content. Because if only your mom likes your videos, no tip or trick is going to make you popular on YouTube. Other than with your mom. So first, make sure you're making great content, and the metric I like to use is look into insights, into hotspots, and look at your engagement scores, your audience attention. You really want to see that solid red as much as possible, and I can tell you our top partners are solid red. So you start with making great content. After that, you know, build your subscriber base, but build it. Don't think about getting a lot of subscribers numbers. Think about growing an audience. So a group of people who want to watch your videos, right? You know, there are a lot of tips and tricks on how you can boost your subscriber numbers, but if those are, you know, not real people who want to watch your videos, it's not going to mean a thing. And the last thing I will say is describe your videos. People talk about metadata, and I never knew what metadata was, but essentially what it means is put words around your videos. So your title, your tag, your description. You can even upload captions. If you have a transcript to your video, upload it and we will auto-caption it. Because what that does is we crawl your content a number of different ways with an algorithm, and the algorithm can't watch your video. The only thing the algorithm knows is the main thing the algorithm knows is the words you put around your video. And if you're spending 10 hours making a video and 10 seconds describing it, you're really doing yourself a disservice. Because, you know, we can surface you in Google search. YouTube search is the #2 search engine in the world. Related videos, there's all sorts of ways we can help people discover your videos. But if you don't tell Al, for algorithm, what that video is about, you're not going to be surfaced. So those are the 3 things I would really think about.
I want to add on that, be consistent. So if you upload a video, be consistently uploading videos, right? If you upload a video like in January and you don't come back to it till November, you know, you've lost your subscriber, right? So you need to be consistent in your uploading your video, and tell your audience, when are you going to upload the video, like, so the audience knows when to come to your channel. So basically think of yourself as a producer who's producing content for a viewer, rather than just somebody might come across my channel, right? Yep. So that's something that you need to also be very conscious about.
So the next question is, Shanaz, why did you change the homepage?
I changed the homepage. I did not know I had such amazing power to do things.
Well, a lot of people wish we could toggle back and forth between the new and the old. And what would you say to the people who aren't happy with the new homepage layout?
Yeah, so like I referred, so when the product team did, you know, move to a new homepage, right? Like I said earlier, we always iterate and launch, right? So we did push out a new homepage in December to millions of users, and they stuck to it. And when they stuck to it, they also saw viewership going up. And after that, we did launch, like I said earlier, a survey. So we do iterate and launch, right? It's not just done, and we take the feedback from our initial launches, tweak, and then launch again. So when we launched it in December, there was a toggle between going back and forth, which is asked in this question, and users didn't toggle back and forth. They stuck to the new homepage, right? And so that's why in January we rolled it out to all our users, and there is no toggle back and forth right now because it's maintaining two different systems. And from a user perspective, it's also like, what do I go to, this old one, new one? Where do I stick with, right? So we did iterate, and then the new homepage, and we've been getting good feedback from it, definitely.
So Jim, what are the best support options for partners? Like if someone needs to get in touch with your partner team, what should they do?
So if you're a partner, use your partner account email and email partner support. That's what my team does. A big chunk of the day is supporting our partners via that email alias. I would say most of the issues people have with reaching us is they're using the wrong email. So we actually have an automated system that knows what emails belong to partners and routes it to the right people. So make sure you're using that email. Beyond that, when we started, I talked a little bit about the fact that the partner support team has been trying to work on other options to help the partner base. One of them is the Partner Communications Hub, which is linked to out of your partner account. And we're working to turn the Partner Communications Hub into a single stop for all of the content that you might be looking for. Training content, how-to videos, and we're continuing to build out a lot of that content. So bookmark the Partner Communications Hub, go back there often. There's a lot of new content there. Anytime we're trying to reach out to partners, that's one of our primary mechanisms for getting a message to you that there's new options available, that there's a new training document or a new video that might be of interest to you. And we're also working on the Help Center. We know the Help Center hasn't been as useful, as helpful as it might ideally have been. And we're actually rewriting a great deal of content in the Help Center. So continue to use the Help Center. And I think you'll find lots and lots of new content there. The other thing I would throw out is that go into your account and opt into getting emails from us. We promise we won't spam you. We promise that if we email you, it will be of value to the vast majority of our partners. But very, very few of our partners, very, very few of you are opted into receiving communications from us. And I think it's our second nature to not want to start to get more email. But that's primarily why we created the Communications Hub, is because it's actually very, very hard to communicate with all of you. So we built this central repository, but the more of our partners that we can get opted into receiving email communications from us, the better job we can do supporting you.
Yep. We're also on Twitter, @PartnerHub. And we're announcing a lot of events like this and important policy changes, so you can follow us on Twitter.
Right.
And also the Partner Forum. So there is the Partner Forum.
Correct.
Which is so go there, post questions, help other partners for some knowledge that you might have, which other partners might not have, right? So share that knowledge in the Partner Forum as well. I think that's another great avenue for getting support. And Jim's team does monitor the Partner Forum, so do I lurk on it.
We're actively moderating the forum.
So Jim, what's the best way to report partners who are not following the rules?
So the flagging system is the best way. It's the fastest way to get something to our attention. So I would encourage you to use the system that's in place and flag content that you believe is inappropriate, is spammy, and we define spam as mistitled, thumbnails, tag spam, all of that we consider spam, so you can flag content as spam.
Anything misleading.
Anything misleading.
So basically, you guys flag, we'll bring the hammer down if necessary,
Right.
but it's up to you to flag the content.
And spammy content hurts the user experience and drives people off of YouTube, which hurts all of us.
Right.
So our goal is to make sure that when users click on a video, that it's what they thought they were going to get. So we need the titles and the metadata and the tags and the thumbnails all accurate.
And the reason I was laughing was because Margaret has this amazing thing about spam and kittens.
Yeah, don't spam. Every time you spam, God kills a kitten. So just don't do it. It hurts. It hurts more than just you. So, Chris, what's going on with the mobile space?
So mobile is just growing tremendously for us. We recently announced 200 million playbacks per day happening on mobile. So you can think on our phones, on tablets. It's just incredible growth, and that was over last year 3x growth essentially. And so best practices that we have for mobile is number one, just syndicate your content to mobile. Your audience is there, your subscribers are there, and it makes sense because so many views are happening in mobile. An interesting announcement that we made about a month ago is we've turned on the ability to monetize your views on the Android app, which is really exciting. So we're now starting to test out 15-second pre-rolls. So before we weren't monetizing mobile, now we are. And that's an exciting development that you can imagine we'll continue to kind of iterate on and kind of figure out what the best ad formats are for mobile.
And to add to that, when Chris said syndicate your content, you can syndicate. There are two flags when you upload a video which says allow this on mobile, and you can do that while upload or from your My Videos edit as well. So that's where you can go and check whether your videos are enabled to be published on mobile.
So, Shanaz, how should partners look at their earnings? Should they do CMS reports, AdSense? I mean, what's the best recommendation on how to understand how they're being paid?
Reports is like that hairy thing we've discussed. So we know it's not the best, but I think we've come a long, long way from what it used to be, which used to be no reporting at all, right? Initially, there was absolutely no reporting except a figure displayed in your AdSense account. And now, with the last year, we've started showing your reports, which is a daily report of how much revenue you made on a daily basis. And that report is the CMS report, which is linked from your YouTube account. So that also gives you insight. So when you linked to CMS reports, it also shows you insight about your revenue report. So I would say CMS reports is the place to go right now because it gives you more granular reports on how your videos are performing globally as well as in certain countries. So it gives you more granular reports than AdSense does at this moment. But yes, we know we have a long way to go in making it the ideal report that you would like to see.
Yep. And
We're committed to improving reporting. So I always say, stay tuned. It will only get better.
yeah, and maybe we can even get our reporting product manager on a live stream so you can ask him questions. If you have more questions about monetization in general, we did a monetization live stream you can go back and look at that has a lot of great information. But we know it should be easier for you to understand how you're being paid. So that's definitely top of mind at YouTube. So the next question, how many countries is the partner program available in?
Over 20 countries. So in the last year, with Jim's team support, we've launched in over 20 countries. We started the year, I think, around 14 countries, and then last year we launched to 6 more countries. So yeah, we're in over 20 countries and always moving forward.
So, and here's a user wants to put the star ratings and the famous yellow subscribe button back. What would you say to?
You just refer to that.
Oh
right?
yeah, we're not going to do it.
We're always launching and iterating, right?
Yeah.
There is no yellow button right now anywhere. And yeah, there are some things that some users really love and hold on to. So agree that there are some things you like, but we keep moving forward. It's like I said, let's move forward.
Yep. So, are there any plans to allow YouTube partners, to change their username if they wanted to?
Right now, the answer would be no.
Yeah.
Simple answer. It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to change a YouTube username right now. It's like changing your email address, right? It's not that easy to say, I started off with ABC, now I want to go to XYZ, right? It's difficult. Just create a new XYZ email address, right? It's the same way. Right now, we don't have any plans to allow you to change it.
Right. It actually ends up being a very difficult technical challenge. You think it would be just, changing the words on your channel, but it has to do with how we store your videos and architect the site. So it's much more difficult than you would think. So now we're going to the live Twitter and channel questions. So if you just asked a question, we're going to be looking through those now. So how important is it to correctly label videos into the correct category? Jim, do you want to talk about this?
Well, so back to, and not to overuse the word, because Margaret's concerned about the kitten population. But we refer to that as category spam. Mislabeling a video to get it into a category that may not be as competitive as far as attaining certain honors is spam. It clutters up the browse experience, irritates users, irritates the partner community, and we have a policy against it. So where that's clearly being done, we're going to start policing it much more aggressively. So don't do it.
Yeah.
And also from a viewer perspective, when you are viewers, right? When you go to watch a video which says, how to do something, and it is somebody just rambling. You're like, what did I just see, right?
Exactly.
So from a viewer perspective, many a times I tell partners and your uploaders, put yourself in a viewer's shoes. You're also a viewer. And just imagine how annoyed you would be when something is totally mislabeled. So try and just, many a times put yourself in the viewer's shoes because you want good viewers.
Right. So here's a live question for our audience. Do you have any product development plans that will allow us to communicate with subscribers outside of video and bulletins? And the exciting thing is we just hired a new product manager around engagement. So hopefully we can get him to come and do a live stream and talk to this directly. So, I mean, obviously we're trying to make YouTube better and better. And we know that you want to talk directly to your audience and
the other thing is we
outside of
appreciate
that.
your feedback. So, right, like these questions also help us think like what you guys really want in terms of product developments, right? So I think last quarter we did the partner feedback session, right? So that also gets feedback from what are the features that some of our partners and you guys are asking from us, right? That helps us as well.
So for those who may not know, we actually did a survey. It was available through the Communications Hub, and asked for product ideas from the partner base. And we had, and I can't remember the numbers now, but hundreds and hundreds of votes against a couple of hundred different ideas. And we actually do go through all of those and sort them into categories and review them with the product management team. That's not to promise that everything that makes it onto that list is going to end up on the product roadmap, but it does then speak to the things that the product manager is thinking about. And we may not solve it, we may not solve a particular challenge or problem specifically how the idea was presented, but it starts us down the road to start to think about how to improve different capabilities on the site, how to communicate better, how to make the experience overall better. So please, if you have ideas, our goal is to continue to do that a couple of times a year, to continue to make sure that we're surfacing the best ideas from all of you.
Okay. So another Twitter question is, can you please talk about what kind of content advertisers like to sponsor? Well, they like ad-friendly content. So when you're creating your content, keep in mind maybe broadcast quality standards. I like edgy, racy videos, but if you're swearing, maybe beep it out. Would you be comfortable with your grandmother watching this? Would you think this content is appropriate for kids under 18? Because advertisers generally don't want to be around racier content, number one. And the more viewers you get and the more reach you have, the more interesting you are to subscribers, because generally to advertisers, because generally advertisers want to place big buys, and the more views you can drive with your videos, the more interesting you'll be to them. And other than that, I mean, if you're authentic and connecting with an audience, an advertiser will want to sponsor you. I would say those were the three things to keep in mind.
Maybe we should pitch the live, the monetization live stream that we did to watch that.
Oh yeah, you can watch that
Watch
too.
that. Watch the monetization video that we did.
But yeah, that's still on the site. So Shanaz, what can you say about what's up for Insight?
Well,
Upcoming changes. Do we have any?
we're always iterating, and I know that the Insight team is constantly working on some changes, but I am not completely informed right now on what's immediately coming. But yeah, there are changes that are coming, which will be good.
Yep. So another Twitter comment is, this is awesome. Can you do a regularly scheduled Ask YouTube Live event to answer more questions? So the reason we did this is because you asked for it. So what you guys need to ask in the comments what you want, and we're going to continue to try and meet your needs. Maybe not all of them, but the ones that we can appropriately meet. Right. So Chris Hamilton, can you talk more about live streaming? Is there going to be a fee for this service?
Yeah, so no fee.
They're calling you out by name on Chris.
Uh-oh. So basically, there's going to be no fee. It's going to be, again, kind of embedded within the actual kind of like YouTube ecosystem or within the actual YouTube product. So as a partner, you'll just log into your channel, and the broadcaster interface will be on the channel itself. So we're trying to make it as seamless as possible, as lightweight as possible, as turnkey as possible to use, and of course, just make it an overall easy experience. So no fee at all, and again, this will be something that we're going to be offering to all of our partners.
So Shanaz, what do you recommend for how to choose tags for your videos? It seems like the automated feature doesn't work very well.
the automated feature is a suggestion, but like Margaret said, like tag your videos based on the content that is there, and tag your videos like when you create a video, what is a user going to search? What should a user search for to get to your video? If it's a cooking video in which you're cooking salmon, say salmon in your tag, right? Because that's what you want the tag for the user to come to your video. So tag your videos appropriately on what is the content in your video.
Yeah, and I would add to that, it's like you want to give rich descriptions of your content, because there's no point in tricking someone into thinking your video's about Justin Bieber when it's a cooking show. They're going to click on the video and drop right off, so you'll have horrible attention scores. And what you want to do is build a real audience that likes your content, that you can build off of. So, I mean, there's no way to cut through that. You got to be accurate. And no machine is going to describe it as well as you are. Think of it as, part of your job to accurately describe your videos on upload.
Margaret has used the phrase again, you spend hours and hours and hours producing a great piece of content. Spend a reasonable amount of time describing it accurately.
Right.
More than 30 seconds. I mean, think about it. Think about the terms that someone might use to search for it, and think broadly about those terms, not just the really specific couple of words. So the more time you put into the metadata surrounding your video, the more discoverable it is, and the more likely it'll get watched often.
Yep. So Shanaz, what do you think about an insight feature that will show partners what videos got people to subscribe? That's a good question.
That's a good question. That's a good idea. Yeah. I think it's a great idea. And we should definitely relay that to the Insight team because that's definitely a good idea.
Yeah, we're writing it down. We'll keep that one. So, Chris, will YouTube start airing the live shows? And how many shows will initially be launched?
So I think the best answer to this question is we want to give you the tools to create live shows. I mean, you guys are experts at creating content. And again, we want to give you this self-service live streaming platform such that you're able to have live shows every week or do whatever you want. And quite honestly, when we roll out this platform, we're going to be amazed at all the things that you're going to do with it, and we'll learn and we'll iterate after that. So I think we're excited to see what partners will do when this rolls out.
Yep. So here's a Twitter question. Can you give some insight into how ads fluctuate throughout the year, especially pre-rolls? It seems like it's the same ones all the time. I haven't heard that one before. But, yeah. I mean, ad sales is cyclical for every business. Q4, you probably see your earnings up. That's because your RPMs are up because we're selling at higher CPMs.
And that's also because the advertisers have budgets, which they are going to to meet and spend their money. Like we are trying to spend money in December for Christmas, get all those gifts, right? So the advertiser, basically December has always been high. So yes, it's cyclical. And your revenue report should also display which is a good month for you or a good day for you as well. So yes, it's cyclical.
Yeah, and you can look back historically and see this January opposed to next January. Generally, we've seen RPMs, which is how you're paid, go up over the last year.
Yep. So that's what Margaret just hit on it. I would highly encourage you that when you're comparing, month to month is always important to us because we live month to month. So you want to know how much I'm going to make this month relative to last month. But the best comparison is year over year. So compare January to January and February to February because that's really the best indication of how the traffic on your channel has grown or how the RPMs have grown by comparing those numbers. And I think overall you'll see that YouTube grew a lot between 2010, beginning of 2010 and now, and I think you'll generally see the numbers all moving up. We all would like them to be bigger, no question about that, but generally moving up.
And do compare that with your audience as well, not just pure revenue, because if your audience is down, your revenue is going to be down. So do compare that in line with your audience, how your audience has grown over time.
Yeah, and watch the monetization live stream because it goes into depth in a lot of this stuff. So Shanaz, annotations are great, but are there plans to make the feature more robust?
Yes, annotations are great, I agree, and they have been used more ways than we had imagined, I think, when we launched the product. So yes, there is a team dedicated to annotations, and they are working on making it a much better, enhanced feature for everybody to use.
Yep. So Jim, how can a partner get past the automated email? Some people complain they never get a response from our partner support team.
Well, the question says a legit.
What's legitimate? I guess that's subject to interpretation.
So even though we've grown our team a lot in the last year, there's still more of you every month and more or less the same number of us. So we do rely on the automation. That's just a fact of life to help us identify, help us to sort and then identify the topics around certain emails. If you're not asking, if you're not getting the answer you want from your question, I would encourage you to ask the question differently, perhaps. Maybe we don't understand the question. Provide us more detail to try and help us maybe answer your question more accurately. And I'm not sure what legitimate means. You may be getting the answer that we have, to be honest with you. So
They want
Yeah.
you to go to their house.
Yeah.
They want Jim's response.
door-to-door YouTube.
Door to door.
Door to
YouTube.
door.
Yes.
So, Shanaz, how can someone get invited or apply for partnership?
YouTube.com/partners. Simple. That's just to go to youtube.com/partners and apply for partnership.
Yep. So, when thinking about monetization, what recommendations do you have for us regarding the types of ad formats? And honestly, I would say go watch the monetization live stream because Phil, who's our product manager on this, really went into a really comprehensive description of it. We have multiple ad formats. We've just launched TrueView, which is basically skippable pre-roll. So I would say watch that. And the bottom line is test and iterate. I mean, find out what works best for you. Just because running pre-rolls may not be the way for you to make the most amount of money, even though that's the ad that sells for the most, if that makes sense. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
So I hope you can implement a feature to partner our second channel automatically so we don't have to apply. What would you say to that, Shanaz?
We're working on it, but I want to highlight what I said. You know, the key guideline in partnership is you should have rights or create content that is uploaded by you. So upload content that is created by you, right? So having an auto feature where we just implement somebody's second channel or first channel is not the point of it. The point is whether you have a channel and that channel has content that was uploaded by you, created by you, or had express permission, right? So we are working on making it easier for somebody who's already in the partnership to get the second channel approved. But we should look at it as a channel by channel basis right now.
Yep.
And I would also say some of this I'm interpreting here may be that last year it took us a while sometimes to answer partner applications, and we spent an extraordinary amount of time and energy catching up on applications and processing them. So you should see a much faster turnaround for new partner applications associated with an existing partner channel and getting an answer back from us.
And there are lots of you guys, lots and lots. There's more of Jim's team, but it's still relatively small for the amount of partners that we're helping. So we're automating things and getting better all the time. But and our intention is to always, make things better, I would say. So next Twitter question is, what ad formats does the YouTube earnings represent? And again, not to keep plugging our first live stream, but there are basically two ways we monetize your content. There's reservation-based ads, and you can think of those as sold as by our Google Ad sales force. And then there's auction-based ad, and that can be sold through our AdSense, AdWords. It's an auction network. So your YouTube earnings is basically our Google Ad sales force. Those are generally higher CPM, RPM ads. So one of our goals is to get our direct sold or reservation based up to a larger percentage, so your overall earnings go up. And again, you can watch the live stream for a more comprehensive description of that.
And the way to access those advertisers are advertiser friendly and accurate metadata, so that they know what they're advertising against.
Exactly.
And to specifically say this question, if you're looking at your AdSense earnings only, the YouTube earnings represent, so if you're asking a specific question, when you're in AdSense, there's a flag which says YouTube, and that's the reservation-based ads that are displayed, and then the AdSense for Content Host. This is a little technical, so bear with me. AdSense for Content Host displays the AdSense for video-based revenue. That's a bid. And that's why I suggested earlier to look at your CMS report, because that just gives you a comprehensive view of the total earnings your YouTube channel has made.
Yep. So Shanaz, what determines the computer-generated tag suggestions?
Yeah,
We're
that's-
really into that computer-generated stuff.
Yeah, that is. I'm not 100% sure on what determines that because.
My response is,
like,
write your own tags. Take the time.
We do look at the content, but I'm not 100% sure on what determines the computer-generated tag suggestions. And those are meant also as suggestions for you guys.
Right.
Those are not meant like you have to use these tags. Those are meant as suggestions, saying these are what we think you should tag your videos as. So like Margaret says, you know your content, and you should think of how will somebody get to my content, right? So
Invest
write
the
your own
time.
tags.
Yep, you can use, Google has keyword tools that'll give like suggestions for, different keywords you can use to tag your content, but really you need to invest the time and do it yourself. No computer is going to be able to tag your content better than you can. So I think we have someone from Norway wondering what consideration goes into introducing the program in new countries. Norway has a lot of great content, Shanaz.
Yeah, great to hear that. There's a lot of consideration that we put into launching new countries. Like I said, we began the year last year with 14 countries, and we grew to over 20 countries. So there's a lot of factors that go in launching a country, including the type of content and all the agreements that we have and the support that we have, which is key. Like you've been mentioning over here, like how do we get legitimate answers, right? So we also do need support for each country to support our partners. So that's also a key in launching to a new country.
So following up from your previous answer, see, we're doing these really live. Yeah. Is it possible to be invited to partnership and not have to apply at all, Shanaz?
Yes, it is possible to be invited to a partnership.
How does that happen generally?
So there are various ways of it happening, but if you are producing good original content that is appealing to an audience, the system or a team member who's looking at YouTube, we do look at YouTube all the time, or videos all the time, will invite your channel for a partnership.
So you're on the hot seat today because these are all your questions. Shanaz is the smart one up here, as you can all tell. So outside of new data, are there any plans to scrap or improve the CMS hub? Is it that bad? We need to ditch it altogether? So
I'm assuming when you say the CMS hub, the CMS reporting, yes, like I said earlier, we know we're far from it being ideal, and we should have Annie Stack on the hot seat next time. And we are working on making reporting much better for you guys. And I think we've gone a long way. Initially, it was delayed. It was 1 month delayed. Actually, when it began, it was 60 days delayed. Then we moved to a month, and now it's like daily estimates that you get, so we have come a long way, but yes, we know we have a long road ahead.
Yep. So why is the partner forum open to non-partners as well, Jim? Did you know that? I didn't know that.
I did know that, and I know one of the requests is could it be closed to everyone but partners, and that actually turns out it's another. We always hide behind it's a technical challenge. It's actually very, very difficult to do. What I can say is that we're going to step up moderation of it and try and police it a little more aggressively, but closing it off to a select audience is not technically possible at this point.
And I want to add that initially it was closed to a select audience, and a lot of our partners said, hey, I don't know how to get access to this, or I don't know how to post something to it. And so it was like, okay, let's make it easier for you guys, right? Let's just keep it open, right? So that everybody can access it and post it, which is another challenge, right? So now we're working on that challenge as well.
So annotations just got a big upgrade, but now they're super laborious. Any updates planned there?
So like I said earlier, yes, that's a feature, there's a team dedicated to annotations and is constantly working on iterations and improvement to annotations.
Yep. Here's a good, I like this comment. I'd love to thank every single subscriber, and that's a good way for new partners to engage with their subscribers. Anyone who comes and is new, thank them with a comment, but after 3, they're marked as spam. Can we change that for partners? I didn't know that. Is that true? We'll have to give that, well, this is good feedback.
Yeah, it's a good.
So,
good.
Jim, is there anything as auto-approved for ads running on my videos?
So after a partner has been in the program for a certain period of time and the account is in good standing, no copyright issues or policy issues, then you can eventually be moved to auto approval of the ads, the video auto approved for ads. So what I would encourage you, and there's no short circuiting that time frame, so it just takes time to be in the program and to operate your channel within the community guidelines and legally, and then you can reach the point to where the videos will be auto-approved.
Yeah, and to add to that, like Jim said, you have to have a good standing, right? And it's not just making a decision on how long you've been in the program, but how consistent you've been with the videos that you've submitted for revenue sharing.
So Jim, Scary Snowman on Twitter wants to know if there are going to be any changes to partner customer service, and can you give him your phone number?
Scary Snowman.
Well, I think we're trying. I mean, we're doing this live question and answer, Scary. I don't know if I'd want to give you my phone number, but I think we're, I don't know, what do you guys think? Are we doing a better job getting out there and talking to partners? I think so. So we're always trying to make it better, is what I would say. So last question I would say is what's the best tactic to grow my channel on YouTube? And I just think for the people who are the most popular on YouTube, they work at it. Mm-hmm. We are going to be uploading more and more content to the Partner Hub on how to make better content, how to optimize your channel, giving you more great instructional tips and tricks. So you just, for the people who are on top and have 1 million subscribers, they work on YouTube every day. So there's no real shortcuts. So
And most of them have been at it for years now. So they are far from flash in the pans, overnight successes. They've been at it for a long time. And when we talk to some of the top partners, they all describe it as the hardest thing they've ever done. The longest hours, they do it 6 days, 7 days a week, but they love it. And I think it comes across in their content that they really genuinely love what they do. And there's a lot of passion behind it, and I think that helps with the development of their audience.
Yep. So I think that's it. Thank you guys very much for joining. Please leave comments below if you like this, what you didn't like. If you want us to keep doing it, we will, but you have to let us know what you want to hear about and if you want us to keep doing this. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.